Well, we are live. A little Jimmy rig setup here in DC. I'm gonna wait for some people to jump in here. We're on the road right now, guys, so I'm sorry for the kind of not standard high quality that you guys are used to. But let's see what we can get into tonight. Hold up. What's going on, man? What's going on? Good evening, everybody. Drew here. We are live. If you guys would like to leave a super chat, if you guys have any questions below, just wanted to hang out with you guys tonight. I hope you guys are having a, what day is it, Sergio?
It's the 17th.
What day of the week? It's Thursday, right? It is Thursday night. And what's going on, beautiful people? Just wanted to hang out with you guys tonight and go over a couple things, take a couple super chats, some questions from you guys as well, see what's on your mind. It looks like the revolution has been postponed here in DC because the Occupy movement of the White House siege looks like it was rained out. And some of the groups that were promoting the White House siege were actually taking to Twitter and claiming that their First Amendment rights have been violated, and they're receiving death threats from Trump supporters, and they're receiving all kinds of threats from law enforcement, and they're afraid to go out. Literally, they're afraid to go out in front of the White House to practice and express their First Amendment right to peacefully assemble. But what's interesting about what happened today is, these organizations that have been blasting the White House siege for the past few months, it was supposed to be like this next Occupy Wall Street type event where they wanted to occupy the White House, and who knows, maybe it'll happen tomorrow. Who really knows at this point? But what I want to kind of point out right now is I think it's very interesting that, Lafayette Square, the park, was open to the public today. And it's been closed, I don't know for how long, but the plaza in the park, literally in front of the White House gate, has been closed for a while for obvious reasons. For security reasons, the Secret Service shut that whole park down because they were trying to rip down the statues that are in that park, and they were going ballistic. And obviously the President of the United States and the First Family and their lives are at stake as well, and for the safety of the administration that is there, because protesters have become rioters, and rioters have become extremely violent. But that park has been closed for a very long time, the past few months. But today, interestingly enough, the park was open to the public. If you see the clips that I posted today on Twitter and Instagram, you could clearly see that you could go into that park if you wanted to go and peacefully assemble and protest in that park today. You very well could have gone and done it. So I think it's very interesting that these leftist organizations that have been promoting the White House siege for months, with really provocative, flyers of the White House burning or falling apart, that they were really trying to push this. And all of a sudden today, this morning, even a local journalist by the name of Ford Fisher was kind of confused as to how these organizations were, at one point of the day, they canceled and were claiming that their First Amendment rights to peacefully assemble have been violated because they've been receiving death threats, and they kind of connect it and attribute it to the Trump administration itself, which is pretty ridiculous because they opened up the plaza today, the park in front of the White House. You can go there right now, which is, in my opinion, wow, that's pretty interesting that they would allow that. And I'm pretty sure there's some obvious reasons for that. But to hear these organizations today say that they have literally lost, or their First Amendment rights are being violated, and they're afraid to go out and peacefully protest, is just absolutely absurd, because you can go out there right now in the name of Black Lives Matter and peacefully assemble and protest in front of the White House. right now. You can go out there right now. It is raining, but they didn't say that they canceled the White House siege today because it was raining. They pinned it on the attack and suppression of their First Amendment rights. Now, I don't know if this organization is just a troll organization. I don't know who these people are. Supposedly, the ad busters that have been promoting and blasting the White House siege for the past couple months are a Canadian organization. I'm not quite too sure if that's 100% accurate. We might want to find that out, but I just find it interesting that these people have been promoting this. They've been promoting it non-violently. They've been claiming that this is supposed to be some kind of 50-day plus protest all the way up until election in order to voice their displeasure peacefully with the President of the United States and his administration, but they just cancel it out of nowhere. And they don't even blame the rain. They don't even blame the weather because it is raining right now in D.C., but that wasn't the reason that they gave. Normally, you would think, okay, well, maybe if they didn't attract the numbers that they wanted to attract, or they didn't draw out the amount of people that they were hoping they would draw out, because they were claiming that thousands, tens and thousands of people are going to show up to D.C. for Occupy D.C. and to siege the White House peacefully, right? They were calling themselves peaceful warriors. I don't know what the heck that means. But they've been promoting this thing for months. And they literally cancel it the day of. But they don't blame the rain. They don't blame the weather. They blame white supremacists and the Trump administration for subverting their First Amendment rights to peacefully assemble. Ford Fisher is a local journalist here in D.C., and he was taking to Twitter just kind of detailing, in his thread that, they were kind of like hot and cold all day. They've been promoting this thing for months, and then they cancel it because they've been getting threats, death threats, and their First Amendment rights have been subverted. But then even Ford Fisher was saying, and then all of a sudden they post a video, ad busters on YouTube, today, after they announced the cancellation of the White House siege. I believe they posted a promotional video today promoting the White House siege. So it was very confusing. Even Ford Fisher was very confused today in D.C. because these people are just hot and cold. Are they trolling? Are they LARPers? Are they just trying to pull off a hoax in order to, make right-leaning or, centrist media look really stupid for actually taking this serious, or trying to make the White House or the Secret Service look stupid for trying to do this? I don't know. All I know is that they were very, very adamant about this event, and then they just canceled it, blaming white supremacy and an attack on their First Amendment rights. Which, in my opinion, it's interesting, right? These people, they hate America, right? They clearly are self-proclaimed Marxists, anarchists, abolitionists, communists, right? They don't hide the fact. Usually a society, before it's subverted historically, whenever communism is making its move in a society, historically speaking, that society is always given baby steps, given crumbs, given really small portions of socialism and socialist policies, and it's baby steps before it's full-blown communism, right? But it's just interesting that in the United States of America, I think they did try, to push communism through Bernie Sanders, but we just went 0 to 100 real quick. We just bypassed the subversion of socialism and went straight from we hate America, let's abolish it all, let's abolish the Constitution because it's racist, and they went from 0 to full-blown communist within 4 years because of Donald Trump. And it seems like the answer to their problems of Donald Trump and their false accusations of Donald Trump being a fascist and Adolf Hitler 2.0 and, the leader of the Fourth Reich, it seems like their answer to a fascistic government, which we all know is not, is communism, is full-blown authoritarianism. This is what these people want. They suppress the media. They suppress journalists that disagree with their political ideology. You might be a Democrat. You might be a traditional liberal libertarian that doesn't quite identify with these ridiculous hard left communist Marxist views of Black Lives Matter, or anarchist views of Antifa, which they find themselves on the hard left. You might be a traditional Democrat, you might be a traditional liberal libertarian, and you're like, I don't agree with that. I don't identify with that. That doesn't represent who I am politically or even ideology. And I feel for you guys because the hard, radical, communist, Marxist left has hijacked traditional liberalism, has hijacked the traditional moderate left in the Democrat Party, and has now made it the party of full-blown Marxism and communism in the United States of America. This is why a lot of people that would probably describe themselves as JFK Democrats are now going full-blown towards the right and subscribing with the MAGA movement in the name of conservatism, because it seems like right now in the United States of America, the only political ideology that's subscribing to law and order and any kind of stability in the United States of America are those that identify with conservatism, those that find themselves centrist constitutionalists, those that might find themselves on the right. They seem like to be the only ones that are calling for some form of law and order. And that's okay. That's American. That's patriotism. That's human. It's human to want law and order and stability in a society that's not racist. That's not even a right-leaning political ideology. That's just being a sane, stable human being, right? And that's where we are in our politics. But the point that I want to make tonight is, how is it that these hypocrites, they claim to hate America? And if you guys have ever watched any of my investigative reporting on Twitter, I've followed RevCom around, Refuse Fascism around, all these self-proclaimed communists and Marxists. They don't hide the fact that they want a political revolution to subvert the United States of America. They don't hide the fact that they take advantage, and I've caught these people on camera literally admitting that they take advantage of our democratic constitutional systems in order to use them to gain political communist ground on American soil. Don't you find it interesting that these people claim to hate our American values, which involves the Constitution, which involves the first, second, third, the list goes on, all of our amendments, that we the people have inalienable rights, whether Democrat or Republican, or if you just don't identify at all politically, as a United States American, as a human being, we have inalienable rights. But don't you find it interesting that these are the same people that say America's racist and the founding fathers are a bunch of slave owner, white supremacist racists, that if they had the chance that they would put all kinds of people of color in concentration camps if they could. This is what these people say at their rallies. This is who they are. These are the same people that make these radical claims that America is racist and that the Constitution is a white supremacist document, right? That only favors white people, which is absurd. But these are the same people that make these claims and that are so anti-America, but these are the same people that will hide behind these American white supremacist systems, the Constitution of the United States, the amendments that we uphold. How do I know that? Why do I make that connection? Because today you have these hard left-leaning organizations in D.C. that are doing what? They're blaming their cancellation of their political movement and revolution today of Occupy D.C. What are they blaming the cancellation on? Not the weather. The subversion of their constitutional right to peacefully assemble as Americans. These people they're not who they say they are. And I want a lot of people that might find themselves on their left. You might find yourself a socialist or a communist, or you just find yourself on the left and you find yourself more liberal than conservative. I want you to understand one thing, that one of the greatest arts of communism and Marxism, anarchism, any hard left, anything, one of the greatest arts of authoritarian government is, number one, functioning under the guise of lies, and the public accepts it, and society feeds on it, and they absorb it. Hypocrisy is how authoritarians and how these dictators and how these crazy hard left, even hard right, alt-right, alt-left authoritarian governments function. They function under the guise of complete hypocrisy. That's historically speaking. So don't you find it interesting that people that claim to identify with you on the left, that they function on complete hypocrisy? They claim to hate America. They claim that the Constitution is racist. They want nothing to do with our American values, our democratic system, or a constitutional, republicly based system, but they hide under these systems. They go to Twitter and they say, my First Amendment rights are being violated, so we can't go in front of the White House and peacefully assemble because our rights are being violated by white supremacists. Trump supporters are claiming to kill us because we can't go out there and peacefully assemble. They cite the very amendment that they claim is racist and that they want to abolish. Does that sound like a political ideology that has any consistency at all? No, it's mindless. It makes no sense. It has no beginning. Yes, it has a beginning, but it has no real end goal other than just complete. This is why they call themselves anarchists, because there is no end goal in the mind of an anarchist. There is no end goal. There, in the mind of a communist, there's this fantasy land of just complete utopia where everybody is equal and everyone has the same pay and everyone has the same opportunities and everyone has the same A, B, C, all the way to Z. We're never going to live in a world like that. We're never going to live in a society where people, even economically, right, socially, physically, educationally, we will never live intellectually. We'll never live in a world where people are 100% perfectly equal, okay? Because we live on planet Earth. We have a fallen race. People are not perfect. People come from different walks of life. They have different ideologies. Some people have, more financial stability than others. Some people have different color than others. Some people have different talents than others. Some people might be better than I am at different things. We can never be equal at that point. That's not racist. That's not bad. That's not evil. There's a level of inequality in the United States of America that's just never going to go away. It's just never going to go away. Some people are better at things than others. LeBron James is literally 100% better than me at basketball. Is that racist? He's black. I'm not. That's just facts, right? Michael Jordan will forever be a better basketball player than I am, right? This is just the world that we live in, right? Many Hollywood actors, right? Many Hollywood actors will always be better than me. And I'm using myself as an example because, I don't want to pick on people because people will get offended, but whatever. I don't care about that. But a whole host of actors in the United States of America, regardless of skin color, they're more talented than I am. They have more money than I am. And that's whatever, fine, okay? I'm not gonna run around and expect a handout and sit here and play a victim and say, oh my God, I cannot believe that someone worked harder than me in life and that someone's more talented than me in life and that they have learned and figured out how to leverage that and invest that in their own lives and careers and be completely successful. I'm not gonna blame someone for utilizing their talents that they have more than me and leveraging it to be more successful. That's a level of inequality that's never gonna go away, and that's okay. Some people are better than others at doing things, and that's okay. I'm not gonna sit here and piss and moan and complain about it for the rest of my life. Instead of pissing and moaning and complaining about how other people are better than you and other people have it better than you, instead of just being like that and playing this ridiculous victim that claims to have nothing going on in their lives, which you might have nothing going on in your life, because hey, you might start at point 0 while somebody else starts at point 199 to get to 100. You might have to work harder. And instead of just pissing and moaning and crying about it your whole life, why don't you get up and do something about it? Make something out of your life. Take the cards that you've been dealt with. Take the tools. Take the objects. Take all of the resources that you have literally right now in your hands, in your life, and make something out of it. Literally. Because there are people that live in third world countries that have nothing but that to do with their lives, and they make it happen. And you live in the greatest country on the face of planet Earth with so much opportunity out there, with so many avenues, with so many roads to take, with so many different things that you could be a part of. You have so much at your disposal. You have the freaking internet to literally become an internet sensation off of doing something completely ridiculous and stupid. And you can monetize that and become completely successful. But people want to piss and moan and take to the streets and complain how people aren't equal. People will never be equal, period. And that's not wrong. That's not racist. That's not something that needs to be eradicated off the face of planet Earth. We live in a very competitive world, not just in America. Humanity in and of itself is very competitive. And it seems like people don't want to compete. Why? Because you're afraid to lose? Because you might be fully aware that there's someone better than you out there? There will always be someone better than you out there in the real world, regardless of what you do, regardless of how much policy that we put forward, no matter whatever happens. There will always be a better man or a better woman or a better being somewhere out there. And that's okay. You're either going to see that and you're going to see that as something to motivate you and you're going to compete with that to make you better, or you're going to see that and piss and complain and moan and have all of these just complete ridiculous complaints about how your life sucks because you're not willing to compete with something that's better than you. How do you perceive this stuff? Do you perceive it as something that is, going to give you a massive L, and your only way to, somehow compete with that is just to piss and moan and complain about how you don't have what they have? It's ridiculous. That's weak. I think you're better than that. I think you're better than that. Because I know you're a human being engineered in the image of God. You have talents, you have gifts, you have so much to offer to the world. I think that you're better than the ridiculous limp-wristed mentality, victim mentality that you might have to say like, oh, I'm so this, I'm so oppressed and I can't this. Like, dude, the reason why your life might be there is obviously you might be born into that. I'm not denying the fact that people are born into lives that are completely unfortunate. But we have people that literally were born into those situations and they've become great. They've become successful. They leveraged what was in their generation to go from nothing to becoming something. That's not only the American dream, we are all made in the image of God to do something like that. But it's just your perception. You might perceive it as being a victim. And if you continue to live like that for the rest of your life, if you continue to hold that mentality, do not expect to get anywhere in life. Do not expect to advance anywhere in life. You'll stay in the same place. You'll have the same ridiculous mentality, and someday you'll have kids and you'll teach them to think the same way. And so your kids, and you'll be generational losers forever because you didn't choose to start thinking differently, which leads to your actions. And you're going to teach by example the next generation to think and to live like victims. Therefore, you guys will never progress. I sound like a dad right now, but you know what? I don't care, because maybe a lot of people, especially a lot of minorities, especially a lot of people, that find themselves with this victim mentality. You need someone like this to seriously just confront your ridiculous way of thinking. Because maybe you haven't grown up with a father. Maybe you haven't grown up with someone or a big brother figure to just say, hey, you don't have to think that way. You are better than how you feel and think about yourself. Literally. Because if no one's gonna tell you you have so much hidden potential, you have so much to offer to the world, you have so much entrepreneurship and creativity in your mind that you may have not even tapped into to even discover the curiosity that's inside of the human brain and your intellect, I'll sit here and tell you tonight, I believe that's inside of you, and you need to just go and find it and find out how to monetize it and go and take on the freaking world. Instead of trying to usher in communism and bring us all down and destroy the free market and destroy capitalism and destroy becoming successful independently in this world. Don't be jealous. Don't be a freaking limp-wristed little kid just because little Joey, got the newest PlayStation before you did. It's like that's how the mentality is. You guys remember when PS2 first came out? You guys remember when every single game console, whenever Christmas came around, what did we want? Everyone wanted the newest game. Everyone wanted the newest game console. But, you asked Santa for it and you asked your parents for it. But when your best friend got it and you didn't, it would piss you off. You were jealous. You were mad. You didn't want to hang out with them. You stopped answering their phone calls. You were super salty against them because they got something that you didn't. That mentality hasn't left a lot of people. It's the same thing. Just because someone else in life is progressing further and more successfully than you, that's not time to sit there and be salty and piss and moan about it. Use that as an opportunity to leverage that and compete against it, because you could be in that very same position too. Literally. There are so many people that are a testament to that very fact. And so, guys, I just wanted to leave this with you guys today. There's a lot of ideologies out there that could really be confronted and dismantled, because this communist and Marxist victim mentality that's going on in the United States of America, where people have adopted it. They find it heroic. I'm not going to sit here and say that social justice is a bad thing, right? We all want justice, and we're all social people. The thing is a lot of social justice talking points aren't really social justice in of itself. Because a lot of these things that we've been literally force-fed in the media are not real. Police brutality obviously takes place. It's happening. I'm not going to deny it. But it's not like this insane worldwide pandemic where Black people are literally being hunted down by police officers on a daily basis. If that was literally happening in the United States of America, I would be the very first person to jump up on all my platforms and start to literally advocate for abolishing it. Literally. Because that's unacceptable. Is that happening? Absolutely. Is it happening to the point of some kind of worldwide pandemic? Absolutely not. We've bought into the lies. We've literally bought these social justice lies that are not true. You have to side with fact and reality, regardless of political ideology, whether left, whether right. You have to make sure that what you're hearing and what you're believing is actually the truth. Sergio, you have to actually make sure that what you're hearing and what you're believing is actually true. And so I just wanted to leave this with you guys, because I know there's a lot of you out there that, don't identify as conservative, don't identify as Republican, don't identify as Christian, or have any kind of, views like that. You might find yourself, you're like, I don't even know what I am. I just know that, I want to always make sure I'm on the right side of things. And that's okay, right? Because Democrats are not always on the right side of things. Republicans are not always on the right side of things, right? The new wave Trumplican party won't always be on the right side of things, right? Sometimes they get things right, but because we're humans and we're not perfect, right? We're going to make massive mistakes. So signing your life away to a political party is a very dangerous thing to do. What I want for you guys to always learn and to apply to your life is to always make sure you're on the correct side of everything, politically, spiritually, morally, intellectually, everything, right? Socially, in the mainstream, the underground, everything. Always make sure that you're on the right side of things. And how do you make sure that you're always on the right side of things? Truth. There is a standard of truth. Truth is not relative. Right? I can't subscribe to relativism. I can't subscribe to postmodernism where, you know, your truth is your truth and no one can tell you that it's not true. That's not a very stable way of living intellectually. Literally. Imagine if you applied that to your life in everything, okay? If relativism was true and your truth is always your truth and no one can tell you otherwise, then you could literally be in a burning building and someone will come up and tell you, hey, the building is burning. You need to leave because you are going to die. And if you use postmodern thinking and if you use relative thinking, you might be able to sit there and say, the building is not burning because I believe that to be true. That even though I'm in a burning building, my truth tells me that this building is not burning. It's just a lovely campfire. And you don't know what you're talking about. So you can just walk away and leave me alone and let me have my truth because this is my truth. And no one can tell me otherwise that my truth isn't my truth. Because if you try that, then you are a bigot and you need to walk away. You see, if you apply that logic to the most simple things in life, that way of thinking can get you killed, literally. So is that way of thinking, is that philosophical way of thinking of postmodernism and relativism of where everything is true, is that a safe way of philosophical thought to apply to your life? I would say no. I would say that there is definitely an absolute standard of truth to everything in the universe, scientifically, spiritually, literally, morally, and socially. There is a standard of truth to everything, because if there weren't, then the reality that we literally live in could not be real. And I think that if there's no standard of truth, we don't know what's real and what's not. And if we live in a world where we don't know what's real and we don't know what's fake, then we live in some kind of simulation. And if that's how you live your life, where you believe that there is no standard of truth in anything, then you will be deceived because you won't be able to discern error from truth or a lie. Accurate and 100% true. Someone could be sitting there lying to your face, and because you subscribe to relative thought, oh man, that's fine. I guess that's true for you. I believe it. Okay. Yeah, that's true for me too. Is it? Is it? So I just want to leave you guys with that. I'll take a couple super chats, and please forgive me for the kind of cheap quality and, you know, this lighting that makes me look like my face is like completely whitewashed, but whatever. I wanted to hang out with you guys while I'm on the road. But I'll take a couple questions if you guys want to drop them. Let me see if I could scroll here, see if YouTube will let me scroll. If you guys would like to drop a super chat, or if you'd like to drop a question, do it now before I leave. Let me take this one right here. Venezuelan capitalist. I like that, right? That's totally a anti-culture, right? As a Venezuelan, right? Venezuelan capitalist, right? That'll get you killed in Venezuela right now. You can't say that in front of Maduro. I fled Venezuela. I am extremely grateful. Oh, this is awesome, dude. Look at this. I fled Venezuela. I am extremely grateful to this country for the opportunities it gave my people. I lost a country. I can't bear to lose another. Dude, that's a pretty profound thing to say, huh, Sergio?
It is.
That's That's like, who are you? Like, like, whoever that is, dude, you need to like take to Instagram and take to social media and start telling your story. You know what I mean? Because there's a lot of, socialists in the United States of America right now, self-proclaimed communists, that are ready to usher in a complete revolution. And when you have someone here saying, I fled Venezuela, why? Because it's socialist, it's authoritarian, it's borderline communist. You can't be an entrepreneur in Venezuela. Even if you are rich and successful in a lot of the rich areas, you're controlled by the state, literally, and taxed out of your freaking mind because they have no other way of generating revenue. So where do they take it? They take it from the wealthy. You're screwed. You are literally the person that is funding all of their welfare systems of equality. But the main concern in a socialist state is the authoritarianism. When you disagree or you disobey, there's no liberal freedom in a socialist state, not just economically, but literally as a human being. This is why people flee the country. Like, listen to that statement. I lost a country. I can't bear to lose another. Man, Venezuelan capitalist, whoever you are, I'm sorry that you went through something like that. I'm pretty sure that you've witnessed a lot of crazy things, but by God's grace, I'm glad that you were able to defect from such an evil place. And it's sad because it's such a beautiful place. The culture is so beautiful. There's so much variance to Venezuela that has to offer to the world. But because they have chosen to go down the path of socialism, not only have they freaking died and deteriorated economically, but socially and culturally, the people have just literally been shoved under a rug. And it's very sad. Pray for Venezuela. Pray that the country, if there's ever going to be a revolution, there needs to be a patriotic, freedom, liberal. And when I say liberal, I mean like a classic liberal that subscribes to classic like constitutional freedoms of the republic, that wants to be free, that wants to be free economically, that wants to be free socially, that wants to be free to be a human being, not to be free to, shove pedophilia and all this weird crap, down people's mouths in the name of liberalism. But if there's ever going to be a revolution, there needs to be how this country was founded. I'll put it that way. Let me go further down. We got another one down here. Let me see. I saw it, but sometimes YouTube. Here we go. UNAR. I'm surprised they aren't going to protest tonight. I thought these kids loved umbrellas. You know what? Okay, again. If it were, and this is historically speaking, right? Like, if it weren't for a capitalist system in place, like socialism and their useful idiots, communism and their useful idiots, if there isn't a capitalistic system in place, there's no finance for the revolution, right? There's no equipment, there's no tools, right? There's no production to not only fund, but to equip the revolutionaries with their umbrellas.
There's no communication.
Right? Who is going to fund the revolution? Who is going to fund these people and their damn umbrellas? Who's going to fund them and their leaf blowers and their bulletproof vests and their gas masks, right? Who's going to fund all this? Nobody. There always has to be a capitalist system in place to fund. Historically, there's always revenue being generated from a free market. And then the stupid socialists come in because they're all salty. And the communists come in, like I talked about earlier. They're so salty and they think, because we didn't get in on the free capitalist society, so we got to subvert it. We hate them. They're jealous and, blah, 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 blah. So they decide to steal violently a political revolution from the rich. And the political revolutions are always funded from the free market capitalist function at the time. Like sometimes I always say this, it's like socialism and communism can't even go forward successfully without capitalism. Because a free market is always funding the thing. And then a stupid society rolls through and is like, you know what? We need to distribute all of this. And we need to tear it down from within because people are making way too much damn money. You get the Bernie Sanders, like, the top 1% and people are making way too much money. So we need to, astronomical taxes. We need to tax people out of their minds. Like, 75% of the paycheck. And if you're making this much, we need to take your money. Because you're making way, even though he's a multi-millionaire and has a few mansions, it's like, really? Like, don't you find that as an insult? If you're a Bernie bro, literally right now, if you're a Bernie bro, you're a socialist, you're a self-proclaimed communist, don't you find it as an insult that these people think you're this stupid to not catch on to the fact that they're calling for a political revolution to tax the rich out of their minds, yet Bernie Sanders himself is a multi-millionaire?
He doesn't talk negative about millionaires anymore. He says billionaires.
Billionaires with a B.
He doesn't say billionaires anymore.
He has mansions. Like if Bernie Sanders ushers in the political socialist revolution, is he gonna give his mansions away? Do I get a mansion?
You sold a few books, right?
Do all the black people get Bernie Sanders' mansion? Do we all get a room? No. The answer is no. And so my point is, he counts on you to be a moron, an idiot, to not even see that. Because when the political revolution comes, does Bernie Sanders get rid of his mansions? Does he take all of his book deal earnings and distribute it to all the black people and all of the Mexicans and all of the people of color? You really think that Bernie Sanders would do that? You're out of your mind. I think it's an insult to your intellect that he actually believes that you are not smart enough to even see that. That's enough on my rant. Let's see. I think we got another one more. Superman, if he wasn't scared of green rocks. Kryptonite. Is Superman even scared of kryptonite?
No.
No, right? He's not scared of it.
No, he's not.
He's just aware that it's it's a weakness. He's not scared of it, right?
No, he's not scared of it.
But hey, shout out to the DC fans. Hopefully the Snyder Cut is like dope. Let's read it anyways. Hi, Andrew. Saw you on Tim Pool. Hi. You were awesome, dude. I've been following you on Twitter ever since. Why is it so quiet in DC tonight? Keep up the work and stay safe, man. I just went on a full rant, so I don't want to do it all over again. But if you want to go back to the beginning of this podcast, you can hear it from beginning to end. But oh, that's right, Nancy Pelosi on Epoch Times. This could be part of it as well. Nancy Pelosi on Epoch Times is reporting that Nancy Pelosi said, "We support peaceful demonstrations that does not include looting, starting fires, or rioting. They should be prosecuted." Speaker Pelosi called for the prosecution of looters and rioters in the wake of months of violence across the U.S. She just got canceled.
Yeah.
That's it. She's canceled.
That's it.
That's every anarchist and self-proclaimed Marxist that is willing.
I'm not getting paid anymore.
Yeah, that's willing to abolish the system right now by any means necessary. That's what Hawk Newsom would always say. He still says it. The greater New York chapter leader of Black Lives Matter is on Fox News all the time, and they're asking him like, "Oh, when you said that you're willing to tear down the system by any means necessary, do you actually mean that, by any means necessary?" And he'll never answer the question. He'll never say yes or no. You want to know why? Because there's two sides of this movement. There are peaceful Black Lives Matter supporters that I think that are deceived, that actually think Black Lives Matter is about black people. Right? And then there's the other side that are insane Marxists that are willing to do anything to abolish the free market and abolish the state because they hate America and they play this victim mentality. They're communists. They're willing to do anything by any means necessary. That's why Hawk Newsom, even burning, looting, and arson and really hurting people and destroying private damage because they believe in the abolition of the free market and they hate capitalism and independence economically and all that. That's why Hawk Newsom, the leader of the Greater New York Black Lives Matter chapter, will never give an answer to that question. When they ask him, what do you mean by any means necessary? Because one side will condemn him for saying that he's willing to use violence, and then the other side of Black Lives Matter will condemn him for saying we should or shouldn't use violence because they want to use violence. Nancy Pelosi just got canceled. Wow. Interesting.
She basically put the word out to all the people that are...
All Antifa,
everybody.
Anarchists,
all the ones that are in charge.
Black Lives Matter, leftist, radical Marxists, abolitionists, they hear that and they see that and they say, you're not for us. You see, this is what people don't understand. There is no tolerance with these people. It's and no pun intended, it's black and white. It's literally black and white with these people. You're either with us or you're against us. There is no gray area. Nancy Pelosi is trying to bullseye the gray area for political points because on one side, she knows that it's crazy and insane to say that she supports rioting and looting. But on one side, she's never going to say that she supports it, but she will say that she condemns it.
Well, she's 100 days late.
She's 100 days late. I think New York Post reported today that insurance companies have been reporting since the George Floyd riots, they've caused $2 billion. $2 billion in damage for insurance companies. $2 billion with a B, bro. And people have asked me, they're like, do you feel comfortable calling Black Lives Matter a domestic terrorist organization? I'm like, do you know how much damage they've caused on American soil violently in the United States? More than $2 billion. More people have died because of the Black Lives Matter riots in 2020. Listen, fact. More people have died because of the Black Lives Matter riots in 2020 than black people were killed by police officers unarmed in 2020. Think about that. So their insane rioting is causing more deaths than actually police brutality. That's their cause. So their cause that they're claiming to riot for is causing more people to get killed than the very cause that they're claiming to riot for. I find it absurd. Anyways, it's ridiculous. Yeah, I've already explained why they're not protesting tonight, so I can't. If you want to hear part of the on-the-ground reasons as to why, you can replay this live.
I saw this interesting question. You ready?
Yeah.
What do you see honestly happening on election day?
On election day, where are we at? 720p. What do I see happening on election day? Okay, if Donald Trump wins, civil unrest. In all major blue cities, I think you'll see. Where was it? Minneapolis, right? I think you'll see Minneapolis type riots. In all blue cities, LA, DC, metropolitan areas, even Dallas, obviously New York. I think all the big blue metropolitan areas, if Donald Trump wins the election, that's what you're going to see. Because these people, they see, RevCom and the communists, they've been taking to the streets and they've been putting out their propaganda. They've been saying that Donald Trump is not going to accept the election results. And they're also saying that Donald Trump is trying to rig the election by trying to say that we shouldn't vote by mail-in voting, right?
Gaslighting.
So they're gaslighting and they're putting both narratives out to both outcomes of the election. So whatever happens, who's ready to come out and just pump the narrative into the minds of millions of Americans? CNN, MSNBC. Those are going to be the two narratives that you're going to see coming. And I'm not a prophet, okay? I'm just calling this out right now. On election night, after the results are announced, you're going to see two narratives. If Donald Trump wins, one narrative will be Donald Trump rigged the election because he didn't want mail-in voting, civil unrest, mass riots, fires everywhere. On the other side, what you're going to see is if Donald Trump loses, right? Because there's sufficient evidence to literally show that there is tons of election fraud taking place in the United States of America, right? Tons, all over the place. Donald Trump is going to challenge the validity and the integrity of the election. Because if it does end up being some disproportionate landslide from Joe Biden, which we know that Joe Biden, a major indication that this is going to be a rigged election is going to be the Latino vote. You want to know why? Because the Latino vote is the biggest it's been in American history right now. And the black vote is way up there as well, okay? That minority vote is going to tell whether this is authentic or not. And this is just think with me here, right? CNN today was already reporting and admitting that Joe Biden is struggling with young Latinos and young black people. He's not doing well with those two votes. Those are huge voting blocks in the United States of America in 2020. If Joe Biden somehow pulls a huge voter win with Latinos and black people all of a sudden, I think there's definitely going to be some questions to be asked, because Joe Biden is doing terribly right now in his campaign. No, people don't see Joe Biden, and I can even say anarchists and even some of the Bernie people. I've been saying this for months. Joe Biden is not the answer to Donald Trump in the minds of a lot of these people. Because when I go out to these riots and I go out to these protests, they hate Joe Biden. A lot of these people, the masses, they hate Joe Biden. They don't see him as an answer to Donald Trump in 2020. So the point I'm trying to make is, if Donald Trump wins civil unrest, because they won't be able to accept the election results even worse than 2016. If Donald Trump loses, he's going to challenge the integrity of the election. And they've already put out the narrative that he's going to do that wrongfully because he won't leave the White House. And what did Nancy Pelosi say about that? Excuse me. She said if Donald Trump doesn't leave the White House after taking an L, they're going to fumigate him from the White House. So I think my election predictions is that Donald Trump is going to win. It may not be by a landslide because of election fraud. Could be. I don't know. But when Donald Trump wins, I think we are going to see total civil unrest to the likes of the George Floyd riots on night 1 in Minneapolis. That's my predictions. Alrighty, guys. I've been live for a while tonight, but I just wanted to hang out with you guys and take a few questions and give you guys my thoughts here in DC. Make sure to subscribe to my channel if you haven't. Make sure to follow me on Instagram, Lives Matter Official, and Parler, Lives Matter Official. Make sure to follow me on Twitter as well, Lives Matter Show. On Twitter at Lives Matter Show. And I forgot to say this in the beginning. You know, I'm kind of jacking Tim's little thing because I think it's hilarious when he says smash the like button. I've just been saying decimate the like button. So if you could please decimate the like button, just completely go to town on it, decimate it, ravage it, just rip it to pieces. Just ravage the like button like you've never ravaged anything before. I'm just saying all these crazy provocative things because you need to ravage that like button, because if you don't ravage the like button, YouTube won't know that you actually like me. So if you want YouTube to know that you like me, then decimate and ravage the like button. So, all right, guys, make sure to subscribe if you haven't. I love you very much. Make sure to pray for me because I need it. And I will see you guys
Smash the like button.
next time. No decimate, smash only. I like decimate, so love you guys. Bye. Okay, here's the awkward moment where I don't know how to go off live.